Okay, so I'm just going to be making a basic guide video of selling auras. If you're a new player, you've just been in the AFK lobby, you have some big auras you want to sell, roughly how much can you squeeze out of the items. If you have shadow and below, like lower than a shadow rarity, just ignore it. It doesn't sell. There's a lot of people that will put like blood through rows on their stand for like 1,000. Just don't even bother. It costs you more to grid the common to A than you can sell these for. So if you're a new trader, try to sell Lunar through Eclipse for something. I don't recommend big traders. If you're anywhere above like, I don't know, 500k, just ignore this. Just put these on weapons you want overpay on. So let's say you have an Elf Enforcer. Just whatever, let's say you want a 50k overpay on an Elf Enforcer. Throw one of these auras on for free. If they want it, great. But I wouldn't ever value these personally. Constellation and Eclipse help a little bit. So you could kind of value these at like 40k, and that's kind of it. I just don't recommend you give these much thought if you're a bigger trader. They aren't really worth your time. Angel, so Angel and the rarer than Angel, you can start putting on grade A commons and sell them by themselves. So instead of putting it on a godly or mythic people once, you just put it on a graded like green or common that no one cares about, and you're just selling it for the aura price alone. For Angel, I would recommend you sell it between 280 and 320k, depending on like how quickly you want it to sell. If you want a quick sale, do 280. If you want to squeeze more value out and you have a lot of people that want Angel, do 320k. You could probably go as high as 350k if you really just don't care about it selling quickly. And you could go really low at like 250k if you just want it to sell fast and you're fine losing a bit of value. I personally wouldn't go lower than that just because Angel sells really, really well for me. That's just my experience with the aura though. If you're having a bad luck selling it, lower it a bit if you need to. As far as Void goes, Void I usually sell between 150 and 180k. I haven't sold any of them super recently, but at those prices they sold pretty quickly and I didn't have any issues with them. It was maybe a little bit low, but you don't really see Void at 200k on any boost. So you kind of need to put it a bit lower to compete. Because if you put it at 200k, you're kind of squeezing out as much as you can to the point where I think it's going to take you a long time. I would prefer you put it at 150, 180k and maybe put it on a weapon. So let's say you have a mythic worth a mil. Throw Void on, so it's 1.15 mil value, and then demand, let's say, another 50 or 100k overpay. So a 1.15 mil weapon between it being a mil for the mythic and 150k for Void. You get an extra 100k overpay because you can, or a 50k overpay, and then just include Void with it. That's the best way to use Void, in my opinion. I don't think you want to put Void on as a single, like a graded common or a graded rare like Angel, because it's not worth as much, and it tends to sell really well putting it on like a Rainbow or a Nutcracker, Rainbow Chaos. If you have Dark Angel, I would sell it almost always on a graded common or a graded rare. I would never put Dark Angel on something expensive because there's a lot of people that want Dark Angel. So you can sell it by itself and it'll sell a lot easier for you too. If you really hate the idea of putting it on a graded common, put it on a mythic, but just know you'll probably have to take it off the mythic and then sell it on a graded common anyway because someone will offer that way. As far as dark goes, if you want to compete with big traders, you have to do I think around 1.1 to 1.15. If you want to compete more with like just being reasonable, I would say do like 1.4. If you do somewhere between 1.15 and 1.4, I think that's reasonable. Just 1.15 is the low end where a lot of the big traders with 200 mil wrap plus will put it at like 1.1, 1.15. So I'd recommend if you're newer, sell it a little bit higher, at least 1.2, 1.3. I put them at 1.4, but I don't have crazy quick sales on dark. So that's just my experience. I've sold one at 1.8 million though, which was lucky, but it can it can happen. So If you want to put Dark Angel up stupidly high, you're allowed to do that. Just know it might not sell for like a month of real time. So you pick wherever you want in there, and then just know you'll probably have to lower it if you put in an insane price. Portal is around 400k. I wouldn't lower it anywhere past 350k. If you do like 300k, I think you're short selling yourself way too much. It might be able to sell for like 450, 500k. I don't have experience with Portal myself as far as flipping it a lot. I've sold, I think, one, and I sold it for cheap just to be nice to someone. I sold it for like 300k because it was part of an overpay deal, and I just wanted the gems back. So I'd recommend 400k roughly for Portal. Dreamwalker, I'd say, is around 750k. If you want to lower it like 50k or a little bit to help with demand, you can. And as far as Timekeeper goes, Timekeeper and Dark are a little bit weird because Timekeeper is like over twice as rare as a Dark Angel, but people want Dark Angel so much more that I feel like Timekeeper is cheaper, which I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking that, but that's been my experience with it. I can generally sell Timekeepers between 1.2 and 1.4. So, and I think most people price it around that. I might be wrong, but that's roughly what I recommend for Timekeeper. I think I've sold one for like 1.6 on Timekeeper, but I wouldn't recommend you do that high of a price just because you're really not competing with the big traders. So the people that are determined to get the item might just server hop and go find a different person. So that's my recommendation as far as Timekeeper goes. If you want to put it at 1.6 and just you want to find someone really desperate that will overpay a ton, that's an option too. But that's pretty much everything as far as aura prices go. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you're a bigger trader and you competitively price everything, I'd be interested to know what's the lowest that all the auras are going for right now. But I don't recommend new traders trade like that. Just for the bigger traders that find this video, it would be interesting to see where like the lowest values for something like Angel, Dark, Portal, Dream, and Time are. Like, what's the lowest rate that people think is still enough value coming out of the item? But yeah, hope it helps. Have a good one.